Okay, so Mike Tomlin is stepping down from the Pittsburgh Steelers. After 19 seasons, Tomlin was a Super Bowl winning head coach in 2008, went to another Super Bowl in 2010, and will go down as one of the best head coaches in Steelers history. But in recent memory for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it has not been much success under Tomlin. They have been really just struggling to get anything going on that offensive side of the ball, and this team has just been stuck in mediocrity for the past 7, 8 years. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016, and every time they're in the playoffs, they get blown out right away, whether it was against the Chiefs in 2022, the Buffalo Bills in 2023, or the Baltimore Ravens in 2024. They also got blown out by the Texans last night, but they did keep it competitive for the first 3 quarters. But they were having a lot of problems offensively. They were not able to take any advantage of the turnovers the Texans were giving them. They only scored a field goal off of the 3 turnovers, and they could not get anything down the field. Aaron Rodgers was also getting pressured quite a lot. He got sacked 4 times, and his age was starting to show in that game. And the Steelers have tried making fixes to this offense the past couple of years. They hire Arthur Smith. It's been okay. He's just a kind of a block coordinator. They also brought in Russell Wilson. They tried drafting Kenny Pickett, and they tried Aaron Rodgers for 1 year, but nothing has really fixed this offense. The running attack has been pretty solid for the Steelers this year between Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren. But that's the only real bright spot. They're lacking a lot of talent on the outside, and they can't really do anything explosive. And this offense just lacks any creativity that you can see from a lot of modern NFL offenses. And I think Tomlin's a guy that deserves a lot of blame for that. He doesn't have a good eye for offensive talent, and the standard that he was setting was just mediocrity. And I think him stepping down was just a sign of him realizing like things aren't going anywhere, and it's better to step down on your own terms instead of getting fired like we just saw with John Harbaugh with the Ravens. But there's a lot of uncertainty in Pittsburgh now. There's a lot of questions what's going to happen in this offseason. They're already doing a little bit of a coaching search. They're looking at Jeff Hathley from the Green Bay Packers, along with Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. Heard some ramblings about people saying Mike McCarthy perhaps, or Brian Flores. I could see Brian Flores coming back to the Steelers. He was on Tomlin's coaching staff a few years ago and gave him the opportunity after being fired from Miami. But whoever they bring in, they need to bring in a guy who is going to be able to either get an offensive coordinator who can do some creative, innovative stuff for the offense, or bring in an offensive head coach who is good at play calling and creating good schemes. Because the Steelers, the past couple of seasons, just lack the explosiveness, like I said. DK Metcalf had a pretty solid season for Pittsburgh, but he's not this wide receiver that's very explosive. He's going to go on these long go routes. He's a guy that's better in the short field, the in routes, and going down the middle. He's a good route running receiver. And I think this offseason they're going to really look at maybe getting a wide receiver that can create a little more explosiveness. I think a guy like Denani Brown or Tutu Atwell are guys that are low-key good signings. You know, guys that kind of got lost in their offenses this previous year and create a lot of explosiveness. I mean, Denami Brown had a great playoff run with the Washington Commanders last season. They're also going to be asking a question of what they're going to do at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, I'm assuming he's going to retire now that Mike Tomlin stepped down. I think maybe if Tomlin was going to be kept around, Rodgers may have considered coming back, but I think after Tomlin stepping down, I think that's the writing on the wall for Aaron Rodgers' career. There's a couple intriguing guys in the free agent market. You can bring Malik Willis in. He had some success as a spot starter for the Green Bay Packers. Maybe you trade for Kyler Murray. It seems like his time in Arizona is done. Do you even bring back Russell Wilson? All of those are viable options. And the other question is, do you just draft a quarterback? And they have the 22nd pick in the draft right now. And if the draft goes in the order that it's going to go in, it's going to be Fernando Mendoza #1, and #2 to the Jets. It'll be Dante Moore if he decides to declare for the NFL draft, which leads them to the third best quarterback option in Ty Simpson, a guy who played 1 year as a starter at Alabama, who had an up and down season. He started out very strong, was a Heisman favorite, but towards the end of the season, the Alabama offense really struggled to do anything. And Simpson does not have a lot of experience. I think he probably needs to go back for another season. I think there's a lot more development he needs. I think he needs to work on his mechanics, his deep ball accuracy, and his ball security as well is something he needs to work on. I mean, this guy is pretty raw and has a lot of things that needs to be fixed before going to the NFL. And unless you have an offensive coordinator you're bringing in that is just really good with quarterbacks and can create good schemes, I don't think a guy like Ty Simpson is going to be great for Pittsburgh. And the next question is, are you going to go into maybe a rebuild perhaps? I mean, Cam Hayward, he might retire after this season. Do you trade TJ Watt? He didn't have the most productive season this year. Neither did he last year. But the problem with trading him now, he's making $40 million a year. He's going to be very expensive. I don't know if any team is going to be willing to swallow that cap space for him and trade valuable picks. You might be able to get a couple mid-rounders, but I don't think you're going to get anything super crazy for him now. You might even just have to just swallow his cap money and just release him if you just want to get off the TJ Watt business. Jalen Ramsey has a 1-year deal. They either let him go to save some cap money or they try trading him. I think he's gone as well. And then you have a couple key free agents pieces that you might want to bring back. You know, Kenneth Gainwell, who had a very good season, along with Kyle Duggar. And there's other things they're going to have to fix too. They need to fix their cornerbacks. They did a bad job against the pass this season. They need to fix their offensive line a little bit. They're good in the pass block, but they need more help in the run blocking. And as I stated earlier in the video, getting a wide receiver that can be a little more explosive for them to get big plays will be very valuable for this team because they've just not had a wide receiver to create big play offense in quite some time, maybe since Antonio Brown's last year with the Steelers. They do have a decent amount of cap space going into this season. They have $65 million to play with, so they can make some good signings and get a lot of guys to fix a lot of their problems. But there's still just so many questions with what this organization is going to do because there's an uncertainty at head coach, there's an uncertainty at quarterback. You got key players that may not be on the roster next year due to retirement or trade or being released. And right now, it does seem like a rebuild is inevitable for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I think a rebuild's okay for the Steelers to do. I mean, they're just been stuck in mediocrity. I think just rebuilding, maybe going into 2027 with a high draft pick, getting one of those guys at quarterback, which will be a better quarterback class than this year, isn't a bad idea. I don't think the current way the culture is set up, the Steeler way, has been very successful in quite some time. I think they need to bring in new guys, create their own culture. But the question is, too, what the ownership's going to do. Are they going to bring in another defensive guy and keep a similar system in place like they did with Tomlin and not make any changes? Because that's what it's really going to go up to. It's going to go up to the Rooney family and Omar Khan and the decisions that they make because they have a lot of options here and not one correct answer, you know. And obviously they're going to have some time to do a coaching search and make these decisions. You know, it's only the wild card round. You know, interviews for coaches that are in the playoffs are still going to be taking place, and they probably won't get any answers from them until their seasons are done with. But for now, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, as always. Like and subscribe for more football content. Peace.